Hello and welcome to the What's the Story podcast. I'm Jarlath Kyan.
And I'm Victoria Houston. Each week we'll be focusing on the stories that matter to you. Stories about the people and places that make Tyrone so special.
The What's the Story podcast is brought to you by the Northwest News Group, who also print our much-loved newspapers, the Ulster Herald, Strabane Chronicle and the Tyrone Herald. Enjoy the show. On October 15th, 2014, 18-year-old student Enda Dolan was making his way home from a night out back to his accommodation in Belfast when he was struck and killed by a drunk driver. Enda, who was from Killyclogher, had only began studying at Queen's University a few weeks earlier. The driver of the vehicle, who had consumed drink and drugs, admitted 5 offences including dangerous driving causing the teenager's death and was initially sentenced to 3.5 years in prison, followed by the same period on licence. The 7-year sentence was later increased on appeal to 9, with half again to be served behind bars. Since Enda's death, Enda's family have campaigned for tougher sentences for drink and drug drivers. Enda's legacy also lives on through the Enda Dolan Foundation and Run for Enda, a local running group which was set up by his parents in the months following their young son's death. The foundation recently marked its 10th anniversary. In 2022, Enda's father Peter sat down with James Kelly from We Are Tyrone to talk about the work of the foundation.
Hello and welcome to the What's the Story podcast. On this week's episode, we hear from Peter Dolan, who founded the Enda Dolan Foundation in order to create a legacy for his son after he was tragically killed by a drunk driver. The foundation has spawned many initiatives in the years since its founding, with one of the most notable of these being the Run for Enda, which has attracted thousands of participants over the years. The Dolan family are also continuing their campaign for legal reform so other families in their position get the justice they deserve. Peter started the podcast by telling me about Enda and how his tragic death inspired the establishment of the foundation.
Well, Enda was tragically killed in the middle of October 2014. He was making his way back to the halls of residence. He was a student at Queen's University in Belfast. He was studying architecture first year. He had maybe 3.5 weeks completed. And he was walking on the footpath one evening and a white van came along, mounted the pavement, carried him in the bonnet of the car for half a mile. The guy stopped the car, got out, pulled him off the bonnet of the car, fired him on the side of the road, left him there like a bag of rubbish, drove on and basically come to an abrupt end by smashing into a lamppost, and that's how they were caught. So there, from that minute in time, our lives changed just basically in that couple of seconds. And Enda was, as I said, he was studying architecture. He was academically very bright. He was a straight A student. He was passionate about and very talented guitar player. He was well into running and loved taking part in many local runs. He was very outgoing, friendly, popular. He had a lot of friends and he was loving life. So from there, after trying to come to grips, and sometimes you never come to grips or terms as to what happened, why it happened, and how it happened. But anyway, I suppose myself and a few of my friends and neighbours decided that we were going to run the following year's half marathon, which was in March of 2015, and we're just going to do it as a wee bit of a sort of a wee run for Enda as such, And we had gathered up about 6-8 people, and from there it just took off. And the first year, we got T-shirts and all the green tops, if people can remember them. And we had our logo done up by Niall Laird from Laird Design, and from there it just went from strength to strength. And over this past number of years, we're going now since 2015. We have carried out various run programs for half marathon, for couch to 5K, and for 10K runs. We attend local runs, we promote local runs, we do whatever we can, and a lot of people have some fantastic stories about how they got off the couch and out and meeting people, and it's a fantastic social event, sort of running, meeting guys for runs and having a chat, and there's new friendship groups formed, and it's a fantastic thing, and it's gone from strength to strength. So that was the start of basically Run for Enda stroke the Enda Dolan Foundation. So from there it has really taken off.
How does it feel to be able to continue his legacy? Because, like you said, these are things Enda loved to do himself. So you're basically continuing his passions and bringing them to more people after his death. Like, is that one of
Yeah,
the core tenets of the foundation and the run, is to bring more
yeah,
of his
it
life
was the
to
basic
others?
concept. Yeah, the basic concept was basically to take on board key elements of his life and parts of his life that he enjoyed. So that included running, which was the Run for Enda, and then the guitar, which was the Red Balloon Guitar Workshop, which was set up. And the Red Balloon Guitar Workshop was a fantastic event where we take young people from the ages of about 8 to 18, and we take them in for 1 week in the middle of the summer, and we sort of teach them guitar skills and enhance their existing guitar skills if they're an existing player. So that is a very uplifting week, and it's been very, very successful. And obviously, just due to COVID, it has sort of it has slowed up now this past couple of years, but we'll see what happens. And it's a fantastic experience to see some young guy, very, very young, and over the years, see how he has progressed and practicing away in his wee guitar, and standing up on a stage, and we give them the wee opportunity of playing on their own, and it gives them a bit of confidence. And I think it's a fantastic uplifting experience for all concerned, mums and dads, ourselves, and even the kids involved.
And things like this, the guitar and the running, like, it's really been taken on by the community in Killyclogher and more widely. How does it feel just to see, especially the most visual representation of it is when people are wearing the green t-shirts and the Run for Enda t-shirts, either on the half marathon or the Couch to 5K programs? How does it feel to see so many thousands of people over the years come forward just to continue that legacy of Enda's?
Yeah, well, like it's a really good feeling, I have to say, and it's a nice feeling whenever you see somebody wearing the t-shirt. And over the years, at every year, we change the t-shirts, we change the colours. They're quite modern, they're quite bright, and they become a fashion accessory. And we have half zips to match, and hoodies and bits and pieces like that, and hats and all the rest of it. So we sort of have got a Run for Enda merchandise out there now, which is going well, and it's very successful. And it's a really nice feeling whenever you see somebody either in this town or indeed other towns wearing the tops. The tops are not don't have a date on them or don't have a year on them, so we just wear them whenever you want to wear them as such, and they're not old tops. They're not they haven't been discarded or anything like that, and we just wear them. I would wear them quite a bit, and you see them out every week. You see them out on the roads or on the tracks or whatever it is, and at the various different runs, and it's a great feeling, I have to say. It's fantastic.
Just on that there, you've obviously received accolades over the years for the work you've done through the foundation, and including in the Spirit of Northern Ireland Awards in 2019. How did it feel just to, obviously, like I said before, the community clearly recognizes the work you and the family have done, but to get that wider sort of recognition for the foundation's work, how did that feel when you were up on that stage receiving the award?
Yeah, I suppose the awards, you don't set out doing what you do to get any rewards or awards out of it. I think we set out just to do something that would be a legacy and a fitting memory to Enda in terms of running a half marathon, and from there it's progressed, and people have embraced it, and now I see that what we do, or our role, is basically giving something back to the community that Enda has come out of, which I think is great. And he had 18 wonderful years in this locality and in the neighbourhood. And we as a family have got great support from that community. And I think this is my turn to give something back to people. And if people have issues with mental health or have issues about not going out or not wanting to run, and hopefully we can get them and overcome that. I think it's a fantastic achievement. And the awards that I have received they're fantastic to be there and fantastic to be on the stage, and each one of them is a total shock. And sometimes you sort of wonder why, there's a lot more people out there, in my opinion, that deserve things, but you just keep doing it. And I'm lucky that we have a fantastic team around us, and they do bits and pieces that I need them to do. And without them, coaches and volunteers and guys that I bounce ideas off, and some of my ideas might be a wee bit wacky, and they sort of pull me into shape as such, So from that point of view, I'm blessed from that point of view that I have a good team about me, and I'm just a front man for it, and the ideas man as such, but I need the team around me, and without the team there would be no running programs and no guitar workshop, and certainly there'd be no awards, so I'm grateful for that.
What would you say the benefits people have gotten out of the programs are, in terms of what you've seen from the many people you've helped over the years?
Yeah, well, I would always say, first of all, we have a wee running program starting next Tuesday for the Killyclogher 5 and 10K, and it's a 6-week program. But the first thing I say is, listen, guys, welcome. Stick with us, see how it goes, do a wee bit of walking, and it'll gradually come into a jog if you haven't ran or been out before, and find your level that you're at. We're all different runners, different abilities, with different ages, with other issues going on in our lives. We're working, and there are issues going on at home. So from that point of view, just leave them all behind if you can for that hour, and let's enjoy it. So we'll do a wee bit of stretching, a bit of exercise, and off we go. And you, at whatever level you are, will be sort of running with 2 or 3 other people at your same level, and slowly but surely over the forthcoming number of weeks, you'll get to know those people. And that's whenever friendships start off like that, and friendships evolve, and that's whenever they start chatting to each other, and they talk about their running issues and their sore knees and sore legs and sore feet, and how hard the session is, and what they were doing the week before and the week after, and what they intend to run, and all the rest of it. And from that's how it grows, and it becomes sort of the like of a similar to a drug, really, and then they get hooked on it. And it's just fantastic to see people continuing to do it, and going from a 5K to a 10K to a half marathon, and some people have completed marathons. So from that point of view, it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And you were mentioning sort of before the recording that the foundation, as well as the 2 community aspects of it, in terms of the Run for Enda and the guitar program, a third aspect is a direct link back to Enda's tragic death, is to bring in tougher sentencing for people who are found guilty of drunk driving and causing deaths by drunk driving as well.
Well, yeah, well, the third strand, I suppose, of the Enda Dolan Foundation is our quest and our fight to change the law in relation to death by dangerous driving. The current maximum sentence is 7 years in prison for taking a life by and being convicted by death by dangerous driving. In our case, the guy that was guilty and convicted, he was initially sentenced to 3.5 years in prison, and that then on appeal was increased to 4.5 years in total in prison. So he served 4.5 years despite the maximum limit being 7. And my issue was, why was he not convicted of 7 years? So from that point of view, it was a bit of probably a setback for us whenever we heard that. In fact, it is this day in 2016 that the guy was convicted for Enda's death, which is quite ironic given our conversation here tonight. So those dates and those memories stick with you forever and ever. And he was convicted of, on appeal, 4.5 years, and he was banned from driving for 5 years. And that driving ban started whenever the conviction was slapped down on him on that day, whenever he was on court. So he served 4.5 years in prison, and 6 months later, he was able to go out and drive. And I think that was disgusting. And from there, we have been fighting to see if we could change the law in relation to death by dangerous driving. And I just need to make this point. The guy was also, in recent times, within the last 6 months, caught again for drink driving, over the limit, high on drugs, and it's just unreal. If there was a longer sentence, that wouldn't have happened. And from what I can gather, there was nobody injured or killed, but if it was, it would have been just another tragic disaster. So we have been fighting over the years to try and get that increased. And I suppose that I have become the spokesperson for families. Now, it's not something that I ever set out to be. I just wanted to try and put the record straight and see if we can do something about it. And I have gone on radio and television and all the various different media outlets just to state my case and see what we can do. We've met with Public Prosecution Service, the Attorney General. We have met with MLAs, MPs. We have met with councillors. We've met with just other people in similar circumstances in terms of families, and everybody is on our same wavelength, and everybody is passionate about what we're doing, and there is nobody that has said, listen, that will not happen. We have met with Department of Justice officials. We've met with senior civil servants. We've met with various ministers of justice over the years since our fight has gone on, and we have pleaded our case. And now, it hasn't been easy, and it's not. When every so often you're bringing up your story, and your story is a personal story, and it's very, very, not sometimes, all the time, it's very, very difficult to talk about it. But somewhere along the line, whenever we do achieve what we're setting out to do, I think it'll be well received, and I think we have fought hard for it, and it'll be well deserved when it happens, because we met with Claire Sugden way back in 2016, and Claire Sugden was taken on board the sentencing review. With the collapse of Stormont, there was no civil servants working on the case in terms of the sentencing review, and part of the sentencing review was looking at the death by dangerous driving sentencing. And that took a long time to try and get somebody to knock on doors to see if, listen, can you please work on this? Can we please get this pushed on? And we were able to get that pushed on, and Naomi Long was in office up until recently there, and in fairness that she has pushed it on quite a bit. And we're at a position now that we have been promised that very early in the next mandate, which we hope will be this year, 2022, that the law will be increased from 14 years of a maximum up to 20 years. And I think that would be a great result. The next challenge that we would have is to get the judges and everybody involved in the sentencing review and making sentencing policy to take on board what the maximum is and trying to use it to their maximum. For want of a better description, we want to educate the judges.
Okay. And what would it mean to you to know that families who are in similar circumstances won't have to go through the heartache that comes with the short sentence that the perpetrator of Enda's death received? What would that mean to you to know that other people will be spared that?
Well, you know, from our point of view, first of all, and I've made it clear in various different interviews that it's not going to change our situation. Like Enda's not going to come walking in the door saying, "How are things? What's for dinner tonight?" You know, that's not going to happen. So really, our point of view and our personal situation is not going to change anything. But looking at the bigger picture, thinking about how we were feeling whenever we left the courtroom that day, you think you're dealing with the grieving process all over again, and you don't want anybody else to do that. And if somebody in some family leaves the court and they're walking outside, and if they're thinking, at least we've got justice here, I think that will be a job well done from our point of view.
Absolutely. Well, I think just like you said, there's three strands to the foundation, and I don't think anyone could criticize any strand of it, because the first two bringing great joy to the local community and really helping with the likes of mental health, physical health, and everything in between, just a pure enjoyment to it. And then obviously your campaign, which comes from your personal circumstances. Yeah, so it's a very worthy campaign, and I'm sure the whole community's behind you on it. So I think that
we get great support. We have to say, yeah, we get great support from the community and the wider community. You know, we get letters, emails, correspondence from all around Ireland, the north of Ireland in particular. You know, and people can relate to what we're doing, I think, and some people have similar experiences and horrible experience, and we can help in some way. And if they can get peace, and maybe a year's time, whenever this sentencing review has taken place and the law has changed, well, and we've achieved what we set out to achieve.
So Peter, obviously another thing you do after the after Enda's death is trying to teach people about the consequences of drink driving and just dangerous driving in general. So why don't you tell us a bit about that work?
Yeah, well, I was first asked to give a talk to a group of pioneers in Eglish, County Tyrone, one Sunday at Mass or during Mass, and basically I talked about my story and about the consequences of drink driving, and from there I have been asked to talk in various schools to senior pupils. Pupils that have 16, 17, 18 years of age that have got their driving test, thinking about driving, and are basically out on the car, out on the roads. So I would go in and again just talk about my story, and there's no holds barred. It's just quite graphic as to what I've witnessed that evening or that night or the next morning whenever we had to go to see Enda in the Royal, and it's just not. It's quite difficult talking about it, and it's hard thinking about it. But it just is. It's a hard hitting story. The UTV have picked it up just in recent times now, and they are doing a documentary about the consequences of drink driving, and my story is just one part of their program, and that is due to be aired within the next number of weeks. So hopefully somebody somewhere along the line, it might hit a raw nerve, and from that point of view, they might cut down or reduce or stop the drinking and drugs and whatever they're involved in, or maybe they just slow down in the vehicles or the cars that they're in, and hopefully somewhere along the line it might do somebody some good somewhere. So yeah, I'm just we've been interviewed a few times about it, and they followed me into the CBS school in Oma actually just before Easter time, because I was in there doing a talk to the senior students there as well, so they recorded a wee bit of that as well. So hopefully it'll be interesting to watch it, and hopefully it'll go down well.
No, I don't think anyone could listen to Enda's story and your story and not be impacted just on the consequences of a really reckless thing to do. So it speaks a lot to you and the family that you're taking such a tragic incident with Enda's death and trying to make positive out of it, like I say, with the running, the guitar, and now with this tangible justice change as well. So I think that's a good point to end on, but thank you so much for your time, Peter, and we do wish you all the best.
Thank you, James.